we go. Grid then, number 4, which is Evgeny Klucharev, sits there on pole position. Alongside is number 7, Jack Lang. Row 2 of the grid, number 66, Brian Caldwell, who had a half spin on the green flag warming up lap, and number 2, Steve Burgess. Row 3, number 6, Barry Liversidge, and 3, Tony Wells. Row 4, 14, John McLeod, and 52, Mark Richards. Row 5, number 16, Stuart Maloney starts, and 46, started by Tom Harvey. Row 6 is where we see number 95, Joe Stables and Richard Stables. It's Joe that is driving solo in this one. Alongside him is number 5, started by Paul Allen. The 7th row of the grid, number 11, Aaron Bailey, and 10, John Caldwell. Row 8, number 80, Peter Tyler, and 57, which is Brian Murphy. Row 9, 28 and 15. Row 10, 72, which is Cliff Butler, and 23. Row 11, number 20, Mark Crader, and number 8, started by Mark Hignett. Row 9 is 9 and 19, Sean Mellors behind the wheel. Row 13 is 91 and 13. Row 14 is 87 and 78, started by John Glendenning. And Andy Chittenden's on his own on the tail end of the field. The lights go out, away we go, and it's a good start by Evgeny Klucharev. However, there's problems at the start, having been spun round and has made contact with the barriers. It's car number 14, John McLeod, who is going no further at this stage, and he waits for a gap in the traffic and is able to continue with what looks like a reasonably undamaged car, I've got to say. I think he just sort of brushed along the wall, having been spun around.
I'm surprised. There were bits of bodywork flying up, and I rarely turn round in the pit lane to avoid bits of bodywork just in case they come over the catch fencing, but I did on that occasion because I was walking just past it. But clearly the car is all right. Oh, look at Bradley Ellis, very smart in his fluorescent cap. Go on, you can't be in the pit lane without it on. Very smart. I would think you'd be someone that would wear it back to front, but still, very good.
We also had a spin on that lap for car number 10, John Caldwell, who is now already going to go a lap down, because diving up the inside goes Jack Lang, who has taken up the lead of the, in fact it was John Caldwell that had gone through and taken up the lead of the race, and Jack Lang now has just taken it away from him as they went up towards the braking area for Paddock Hill Bend, and the orange car of Jack Lang is now already starting to pull away well and truly from Evgeny Klucharev, the Armenian driver, who sits there in what is now second position, with third place now going the way of Steve Burgess, car number 2, that sits there in third position. It looks as though largely, now that we've had those issues off the start line, everybody is able to continue, and it looks as though John McLeod is already starting to thread his way up through the order, having been dumped following that spin off the start down towards the very tail end of the field. Depending on how you got on in the previous third race of the weekend, which was the third and final race at Snetterton, the longer endurance race, that dictates how long your pit stop is for this one. Everybody has to remain stationary for 45 seconds as a minimum in the pits, plus the 15 seconds it takes to head down the pit lane at the regulatory speed limit. But if you, in your respective class, win it, you get yourselves an extra 20 seconds in the pits. If you're second, it's 15. If you're third, it's 10. And if you're fourth or fifth, then you get 5 apiece for each one of those. So out front and leading the race, number 7, Jack Lang. He has got a 15-second pit stop rather than the regular 45. We've got somebody that's fired the car off towards the left, heading round through Surtees and up towards McLaren. So that's brought about the yellow flags at that part of the circuit. And who's that? I have a feeling that might be the number 46 car, possibly, of Tom Harvey that's had the issue. Wait to see whether he comes through. No, indeed, that is the car that's tumbling down through the order now. Car number 46, which is Tom Harvey, has had the issue. He's going to get back onto the circuit, but will have dropped well and truly down through the order. He sort of turned left in towards Surtees and then never actually turned right, heading through McLaren. So Jack Lang, as we were saying, has got 50 seconds in the pits. In second position, which is the car of Evgeny Klucharev and Bradley Smith. That will have 60 seconds in the pits. That's an extra 15 seconds compared to others. The car that's third in the race, which is number 2, Steve Burgess, he's got 65 seconds in the pits, so he's got an extra 20 seconds that he needs to add in as a result of that win that he took in race 3 at Snetterton. And then other cars that have got extra seconds in the pits, the number 66 car of Brian Caldwell, he's got an extra 10 seconds in the pits relative to others. We'll pick out the rest of them, but that's certainly the ones at the sharp end, and therefore that's why Jack Lang is doing what he needs to do, really, getting on with it, trying to build a margin in the early stages of the race, because he knows he's going to have to remain stationary for an extra 5 seconds compared to some, but will in reality also gain the best part of maybe 15 seconds in the pits over others with the additional penalties. What it does is it evens out the field, and means that it is very difficult to claim back-to-back wins in reality in the third and final races of the weekend. Through goes the number 7 car of Jack Lang, still out front and leading the race. Klucherev under huge amounts of pressure now in second place from Steve Burgess, who jinks to the inside, heading up towards Paddock Hill Bend, is able to squeeze the number 2 car through and ahead of Evgeny Klucherev, who has dropped down into third position. And he needs to be careful, does Klucherev, because he's got absolutely breathing down his neck now the number 52 car of Mark Richards, who would like to try and get himself up into the potential podium places. Mark Richards has an extra 15 seconds compared to others in the pit, so he's going to remain stationary for 60 seconds come the pit stop window, rather than the standard 45. As through and over the start-finish line, another lap about to be completed by Jack Lang in this 40-minute race. The pit window will open between 18 and 26 minutes of the race. So we've already had, what, the first 7 minutes, so we're probably 10 minutes away or so, 10.5 minutes, 11.5 minutes away from the pit window opening at this stage. And Jack Lang still just pressing on all of the time. Another new fastest lap of the race set by the former single-seater racer. That was a 46.735 second lap for Jack Lang, who has now, by the look of things, really started to increase the margin. He leads by almost 5.3 seconds at the start of the lap, and is already now turning his way past the MSV building up towards Clark Curve, as only just heading out of McLaren comes the second place car of Steve Burgess. So lap 7 now completed, another lap on which Jack Lang goes even quicker. 46.702 was the fastest lap of the race. That has just been bettered by a 46.331 from Steve Burgess in second place, so the gap's down to less than 5 seconds now, as Steve Burgess responds to the fact that Jack Lang is trying to pull away in the lead of the race. And these two have got significant amounts of daylight both ahead of them and behind them as well. It's only from third onwards that it starts to get a little bit closer. Evgeny Klucherev sitting there in 4th position. The black and teal-coloured car in the hands of the Armenian driver. He's really the cork in the bottle. He's got Mark Richards, who has a look at the inside. There's contact between the two of them, and Klucherev gets spun around. Mark Richards gets delayed, and Klucherev will be able to continue, but he's too keen to get back on the throttle, and from having spun the car through 180 degrees, he's accelerated and spun it through another 180, and is now losing more and more and more time. He eventually gets going and is going to rejoin right the way down towards the bottom of the order. Let's just have a quick look as he heads over the start-finish line now, and poor old John Caldwell heads for the pits with issues with his car. Klucherev comes through and is now down into 16th position following that mistake. And it really now does mean that Bradley Smith has got a big old chunk of work to do once he takes over the car. So Klucherev down in 16th position now at the wheel of car number 4. Jack Lang still pressing on, still continuing to lead the race. Number 7, Jack Lang leads. Number 2, Steve Burgess in 2nd place. 3rd place, and Steve Burgess sets another new fastest lap of the race on that lap, 46.267 seconds from him. 3rd place is where we see the number 95 car of Joe Stables. That started 11th on the grid, so Joe going superbly well. Another driver that has raced in the BRDC Formula 4 Championship in the last season or so. Brian Caldwell, number 66, is there in 4th position. Mark Richards, number 52, is there in 5th place. Then it's Tony Wells, who's there in 6th position. Barry Liversidge, number 6, is there in 7th place. Paul Allen, number 5, is there in 8th place. 9th place is car number 16, Stuart Maloney, the man all the way from Barbados to race with us this weekend, and it's going to be Aaron Bailey who completes the top 10. We are being forewarned with regards to driving standards for 2 cars, one of which is car number 72, the other one of which is number 46. Well, number 72 is the car that started in the hands of Cliff Butler. That is circulating down towards the bottom of the top 20 at the moment, and the number 46 car that's being forewarned is the car of Tom Harvey that had that issue up at McLaren a few laps ago. So both of those being forewarned with regards to their driving standards, as all of the time our race leader Jack Lang continually starts to pull away and is now starting to get himself amongst the traffic. He's just got past the car in 25th position, car number 91. David Frankland has now been placed a lap down as Jack Lang starts to close in on the next couple of cars up the road, which is going to be John Glendenning and Sean Mellors, who are having a good little fight over 24th and 25th currently. under half an hour of the race to go. So we're at 1/4 distance in reality, with 3.8 seconds separating first from second, then a further 5 seconds separating second from third. Now that we've seen Brian Caldwell get himself into fourth position at the wheel of car number 66, he seems to have sort of settled in a little bit and has got himself a bit of daylight between himself and Mark Richards behind. Best of the battles at the moment is down in 7th, 8th and 9th position, which is number 6, which is Barry Liversidge. He's got a chunk of cars that are queuing up behind him at this stage, looking to try and wrestle it out of his grasp. But Barry's doing a cracking job, a driver who started racing in the Radical SR1 Challenge a season or so ago. The number 6 car is about to head over the start-finish line any second now, yet you can see queuing up behind him is the next of the cars, which is the red car in the hands of Paul Allen. Then you've got the Stuart Maloney car, and then Aaron Bailey thereafter, so that's sort of 4 cars as one, all trying to sort out as to whom at this stage is going to finish in 7th, 8th and 9th and 10th positions, but they've got the best part of half an hour to sort it out, plus of course the pit stop window as well. Our race leader in the meantime still pressing on, another lap about to be completed by Jack Lang, who goes past number 13, the very patriotically liveried car in the hands of Simon Garmston, the Union Jack on the bonnet. The checkers towards the tail end of his car. Simon Garmston, a long-time Radical racer, raced a Radical PR6 for a very good number of years, and has been a regular in this championship for the best part of 10 years now, I would suggest, Simon Garmston. Jack Lang now leads by 5.5 seconds, give or take the odd thousand. Steve Burgess, though, in second place, is chipping away. Not huge amounts of time between the two of them, only a 1/10 of a second, but the gap's going the right way as far as Steve Burgess is concerned. He's, at the moment, just trying to thread his way through and past the car that Jack Lang has already lapped, that being Simon Garmston, who sees him coming, moves neatly out of the way. So I suspect the gap between first and second will have come out just a shade further on this lap. Jack Lang goes through, 14 laps now completed. That was a 46.5 second lap from him compared to the 47.5 second lap from Steve Burgess, so a second was gained there through the traffic by Jack Lang, who again is looking to thread his way through and past some of the other cars as they head through Druids and then work on their way downhill. Best of the squabbles now towards the front is car number 95, which is Joe Stables driving solo. That's the black car with the red flashes, just heading around through Graham Hill Bend now. He has got the car of Brian Caldwell hot on his heels, and well, at the beginning of this lap we also had Mark Richards together with them, but Mark Richards had just fallen away over the course of this lap, so Joe Stables and Brian Caldwell are able to try and sort out as to who at this stage of the race is going to hang on to third place and who's sitting there in fourth. They've also got traffic they'll need to try and work their way through, so the number 95 car of Joe Stables in third position heads up towards Paddock Hill Bend, tries to squeeze its way through and past the back marker as it heads out of Paddock Hill Bend, and is able to go through and, if anything, maybe gain a little bit of an advantage between himself and Brian Caldwell behind. Steve Burgess in second, though, is also now starting to close in on the race leader once more, having lost time through the traffic on the lap prior. The man from Nottingham has now just posted the new fastest lap of the race at the wheel of car number 2, 46.142 seconds for Steve Burgess, who is now close to within 2 seconds of overall race leader Jack Lang, who is trying to work his way past Gary Patterson. Through he goes up the inside, gains the place over Gary Patterson. Gary is, a lap down now. He sits there in 20th position. We've also got a 5-second penalty going out for track limits for Cliff Butler, who has not heeded the warning, Alan.
The Caldwell car is a retirement. What the problem is with the car, I'm not totally sure. I wonder if I can find out from John Caldwell, who's chatting away to the team at the moment, and the car is at the top end of the pit lane where it's been for quite some time, and he's not letting me into the conversation at the moment. So
he was involved in the race 2 incident, wasn't he?
He was, yeah, and there's still a few little bits of gravel around the car. John, what seems to be the trouble?
Well, I'm not sure. I lost drive going through Surtees and into Clearway, so had to coast round and into the pit. So anyway, it's I'm about 5 laps down now, so I think it's time to go home.
Big disappointment. I'm sorry for you. Thank you, John. That sort of explains that there's an unexplained problem.
Yeah, thank you very much. We've got one car that's come into the pit lane, car number 72, Cliff Butler. It was a car that had been shown a warning flag and was then being shown that it had got a 5-second penalty. Well, it's come into the pit, so we just wonder whether either driver misidentified flag or whether there is indeed a problem with the car. And looking at the way the mechanics are still hovering around that car would tend to suggest the latter rather than the former. There's also another black and white warning flag going out for the other Caldwell, which is Brian Caldwell, who sits what is 4th overall in this race, so needs to be careful, does Brian Caldwell. 24 minutes of the race to go, which means we've had 16 minutes, which means there's now just another 2 minutes before the pit window opens, and it will then remain open for just 8 minutes. And during that period of time, everybody has to come into the pits and conduct their mandatory pit stop of remaining stationary for 45 seconds. Of course, for some teams, swapping drivers may well mean that 45 seconds, the driver changeover, has to be done very, very effectively and efficiently. Of course, if you are the sole driver, you simply remain behind the wheel of the car and it just remains stationary in the pits before you head back out. So 23 minutes of the race to go. Leading by 2.6 seconds is the car that heads over the start-finish line now. Number 7, Jack Lang, heads on to lap number 20. Now just 1.6 seconds ahead of Steve Burgess, who on that lap has pushed the boundary further up to a 45.975 second lap. That is the new fastest lap of the race that we've had so far. So for the number 2 car, in the hands of Steve Burgess, had some traffic that need dealing with at the start of this lap, but he can still see Jack Lang ahead of him. When it comes to both of these cars pitting, Jack Lang remains stationary for 50 seconds, Steve Burgess remains stationary for 65 seconds, so an extra 15 seconds for the car in second place. And with the pit window about to open, the board is going to be held out literally in a matter of 50 seconds time, and all of the cars have to come past the board before they can come into the pits. So you've got to drive past the pit open board, and only then are you able to come into the pits. It's the same at the back end of it. Once the pit closed board is held out, as long as you don't drive past that, you can pit after the 36th minute of the race, but you can't drive past the board that indicates that the pits have now closed. So Jack Lang pressing on round through the left-hander at Surtees. He'll go about to lap for the second time David Franklin's car, who is circulating down in 27th position as the last of the remaining runners at this stage. And as Jack Lang heads over the start-finish line now, we should now see that the pit window is open. Yep, so the board being held out, the pit window is open. We can see that a few of the drivers are suited and booted and ready to go, and I suspect, certainly for the car of Evgeny Plusharev, he will probably hand the car over very early on to Bradley Smith, because that was a car that was right up there in the early stages. It had the spin, and now in the hands of Plusharev, it had recovered from the spin in 16th, is now down in 17th, so Bradley Smith has got a big old chunk of work to do in the remaining 21 minutes or so of this race. Steve Burgess, though, again, is pressing on another new fastest lap of the race for the car in second position, 45.692 seconds. Driver who missed out narrowly on the overall championship last year is hugely key to try and keep up this string of momentum that he's had. Through goes Jack Lang, through goes Steve Burgess, number 2, just 1.5 seconds adrift. And it looks as though, right, okay, further penalties now being applied, because car number 72, Cliff Butler, didn't heed the first warning, black and white flag, did not heed the second warning, which gave him a 5-second penalty, so he's now got a 10-second penalty, car number 72. That's going to drop it well and truly down through the order, as we've lost one into the gravel trap at Clearways, and the dust is settling just as cars dive for the pit lane. It's going to be a very busy pit lane for Alan Hyde down there.
It's a question of where to place myself, and also, is there going to be a safety car, do you think? Because
no, the car recovered eventually.
Okay, very good. That's good news. So I'm standing in front of the number 46 car, driver change being effected for car number 46, and it really is a very busy pit lane very, very quickly. As soon as that window is open, number 6 in pit lane as well. James Abbott has been standing by to get into his car for quite some time now, getting himself in the zone, and number 14 is the next car in pit lane. And as you rightly said, Bradley Smith is going to get to the wheel of that car as quickly as he possibly can, but he's not going to be able to do that before they've got a very sizable insert for the seat to go in. So that's in place now. He slides himself in, pops on the steering wheel. The team are going to sort out the straps over his left and right shoulder, about to be done up, pulled tight in a couple of moments after the communications jack is plugged into the right hand shoulder, and in it goes. So this is the number 4 car, the incredibly impressive machines as you get up close to them. These are proper race cars. The button pressed for Bradley Smith. Is he comfy? Pulls down the straps on the left and the right, puts down the purple coloured visor on his helmet. The number 91 car comes to a stop, and comes to a stop now where Bradley Smith was a moment ago, because Bradley is down pit lane. He's been given the word to go, so Bradley Smith down pit lane, about to rejoin, and his place in pit lane has been taken by number 91 David Franklin. Number 19 in pit lane is just about to leave. Number 95 in pit lane revs the engine. Number 28 into pit lane. This is all a bit of a piecemeal offering that I'm giving you from pit lane, I'm afraid, because they really are coming thick and fast. Jack Lang, car number 7, leaves pit lane and is held up because somebody else has pulled out just in front of him. So Jack Lang, who had a great first race here at Brands Hatch today in very different conditions, very overcast it was first thing this morning when they went out for qualifying as the first session of the day, and then had a very unfortunate start on the start of the second race of the day. And right up at the top end of the pit lane, I've traversed the whole of the pit lane during this pit stop window intervention. The number 66 car is at the very top of the pit lane.
Yeah, that's Brian Caldwell's car, isn't it? It's at the very top of the pit lane. Brian's one of those that has got extra seconds to serve in the pit, so he'll have to remain stationary for an extra 10 seconds relative to others. Leading the race now, but not as yet having pitted, is car number 11, which is Aaron Bailey, that leads the race by just 0.8 of a second from number 57, which is Brian Murphy, who sits there in second place. Third place is number 15, Jack Manchester, and fourth is number 23, Jason Rishover, but all of those have not as yet pitted. The first of the cars that has pitted is number 7, Jack Lang, who is in 5th position, with Joe Stables in 6th place having pitted, and Brian Caldwell, I think, just having come out of the pits. He came out in 7th, but whether he was up to full speed by the time others were able to squirt their way by remains to be seen. One car that is in the pits this time through is going to be the Union Jack livery car of what will be Simon Garmston. Number 13 is in, and who else have we got in? We've also got sneaking to the top of the pit lane, that's number 23, Jason Rishover is in as well. So a couple of cars only now conducting their mandatory pit stops. So that should, with Jason Rishover in the pits, promote Jack Lang, who was the race leader before the pit window opened, up to 4th at the end of this lap. So through goes Jack Lang, and yet reasserts himself in 4th position, and up to the lead of the race now goes number 57, Brian Murphy, and that is because number 11 has dived for the pits this time. That is Aaron Bailey, about to give way and dispense with driving duties. Lee Bailey will take over that car. We've also had number 15, who was in 3rd place, Jack Manchester, come in. So I think there's just one car now that hasn't pitted, and that is the overall race leader, number 57, which is Brian Murphy, who is going to be threading his way towards the conclusion of the lap, I would have thought, before too much longer. There he goes through McLaren and then up towards Clearways Corner. Is the number 57 car going to dive for the pit lane this time? Yes, indeed it does. So the last pit visitor is coming in, which means that with Brian Murphy heading to the pits at the wheel of the number 57 car, we saw him non-finishing one of the races earlier on today, where he ended it in the gravel trap at Paddock Hill Bend. He's going to put the orange car of Jack Lang back into the lead of the race yet again. So where is Jack Lang? He is just now going to be turning his way out of Druids and starting to work his way down in towards the left-hander at Graham Hill Bend. So Jack Lang, at the end of this lap, will re-establish himself back into the lead of the race, which isn't a massive lead in reality. Jack Lang had to remain stationary for 50 seconds in the pits, compared to the standard 45 seconds for for others, whereas for Joe Stables, car number 95, who started 11th and was running 3rd, he had just got the standard 45 seconds, Alan.
And I've got Brian Murphy with me. He's just fired the engine up. Well, I haven't got him with me, but I've got the car and him as a unit with me, because they're just getting the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 countdown, and checks his mirrors down pit lane. So a reasonably, relatively quick pit stop for Brian Murphy. He's back out and on his way, and I'll come back up to you.
Yeah, just standard 45 seconds for him. There is one other car that on your way to us, you can find out what the problem is with it, and that's car number 52. We spoke to Bradley Ellis, who joined us in the commentary box, former British GT champion earlier on in the day. He's here supporting and tutoring Mark Richards. Well, the mechanics are gathered around Mark Richards' number 52 car in the pits, and it's going nowhere at the moment, so that car has clearly had some issues. Jack Lang leads at the end of 28 laps and has 2.2 seconds between himself and the car in the hands of Joe Stables, number 95, who's there in 2nd position. Number 66, which is Brian Caldwell, is there in 3rd position, with Steve Burgess there in 4th place. Those two aren't separated by a great deal either, really. The number 66 car, the red car, just heading up towards Druids now, and then the next of the red cars behind, which is number 2. Steve Burgess. In between the two of them is Bradley Smith, but he's a lap or so adrift. What news from the pits, Alan?
Well, I'm by the number 52 car at the moment. They're checking out the left-hand side of the car. It's very dusty. There's a little bit of damaged fiberglass at the rear. But Mark, can I ask you, what's the problem?
I overshot the last corner, ended up in the gravel, tried to keep through the gravel, and then as I rejoined the tarmac, it just spun me around and I clipped the front.
Yeah, so what is the damage at the front? What's been broken?
Just a bent upright, which we can't fix now, so it's race over, unfortunately.
Very disappointing. An overview of your day?
Fine, not amazing. Happy with the qualifying and I think 3rd for the first race. First 2 races went fine, but this is the double pointer, so.
Big shame. I'm sorry for you. Thank you for explaining to us, Mark. So damage at the front of the car after a trip off in the gravel, and the car, it ain't going nowhere.
Thanks a lot. Yep, so just to confirm, the pit window has now closed. However, there will be a drive-through penalty for number 48 for a pit infringement. I saw that car in the hands of Mark Chittenden, the Radical SR1, come into the pits. Well, it sort of wasn't really a drive-through penalty. It was more of a stop-go that was self-enforced, because there was quite a lot of stop in the stop-go penalty. Only now is it heading back out onto circuit. Number 7, Jack Lang, continues to lead. We've got 12.5 minutes of the race still to go. He's on lap number 32. He leads by 2 3/4 seconds from number 95, Joe Stables, with 3rd place going still the way of Brian Caldwell, who just can't shake away the attentions of number 2, Steve Burgess, behind him. The two of them now just threading their way through down towards the bottom section of the Cooper Straight, and Bradley Smith tries to squeeze his way and unlap himself actually from the number 66 car. Didn't quite work. However, he's going to unlap himself here on the exit of Clearways Corner and up towards Clark Curve. So at least that now means the cars squabbling over 3rd and 4th are together on circuit. Number 66, Brian Caldwell 3rd, number 2, Steve Burgess there in 4th position. It's quite a close little fight between those two. The car that's just actually got through and ahead of them, which is the number 4 car in the early stage of the race that was driven by Evgeny Klusarev. Well, of course, that's now Bradley Ellis that's behind the wheel, but that car is a lap adrift of the race leaders and running down in 15th position with arguably, I would have thought, one of the quickest drivers behind the wheel of it now as well. We'll keep an eye to the times, because at this stage of the race, the fastest lap time that we've had has been posted by Steve Burgess at a 45.692 second lap. One of only a couple of drivers that's got into the 45-second bracket. We'll see what Bradley Ellis can now do, now that he is clear of the rest of the circuit and track. Right, OK, we've got problems up at Clearways Corner, and the problems are, I have a sneaky feeling, for the two cars that were squabbling over 3rd and 4th place, both of whom have got together with each other. Yeah, there goes Steve Burgess now over the start-finish line. He's up to 3rd place, and, well, down to 5th is now going to be number 66, Brian Caldwell. So the two of them tripped over each other. That shuffled the order somewhat. Jack Lang, number 7, still leads by 4 seconds from number 95, Joe Stables. Number 2, Steve Burgess, 3rd. Up to 4th has come the green number 3 car in the hands of Tony Wells, and then poor old Brian Caldwell has been bumped down through the order now, down into 5th position with number 57, Brian Murphy, completing the top 6. So that's the order of the top 6. In 7th place is number 6, which is Barry Liversidge. In 8th position, it is number 11, Lee Bailey. 9th position is number 16, which is going to be James Abbott behind the wheel. 10th position is number 80, that being Tom Gladys. So that gives you the order of the top 10 with 10 minutes to go. And all now, certainly the top 3 looking reasonably settled following the incident between Steve Burgess and Brian Caldwell, which I sort of saw the tail end of it, both cars spinning, didn't see the first part of it, so I have no idea as to what caused them to spin. Both cars looking relatively undamaged as a result, but now Jack Lang leads by 4 seconds from Joe Stables, who's got 13 seconds in hand between himself and the car of Steve Burgess. The best of the fights we've got now is for 4th and 5th position, just heading down the Cooper Straight, and that is Tony Wells with the green number 3 car under pressure from the number 66 machine in the hands of Brian Caldwell. We've got a black and orange flag also going out to forewarn the driver of car number 14, which is John McLeod, that all might not be well with his car. Well, if we think back to the very start of the race, John McLeod's was the car that sort of spun through 180 degrees and made contact with the Armco barriers at the end of the pit wall. So it does make me wonder whether, with the airflow going over that car, whether something has now come dislodged on the number 14 car that has attracted the attentions of the officials, and black and orange flag means that that car will have to head into the pit lane at some point. So that's a car that is going to tumble down through the order, and poor old John McLeod had fought his way up from last position up to what was 13th place. And yeah, the problem with that car is that the rear wing has collapsed, and either way, John McLeod is going to lose lots and lots and lots of time if he keeps circulating with that rear wing in a very, very strange position. So poor old John McLeod is going rather slowly now up towards Druids Bend, and if you look towards the tail end of that car, you can see Alan Hyde that the wing is at a very unusual angle and isn't going to give him a great deal of downforce, is it?
They're pretty hardy, these cars, you know. They do take a bash quite well, and I've been impressed to see some of the cars which have come into pit lane today, and you think, wow, that really has had quite a bump, and you know, just a bit of tape to the bodywork and it goes back out and it's okay. But if you're looking at something as fundamental to the racing car as the rear wing, then unfortunately you can't really drive around that, can you? And yeah, that's very disappointing.
Yeah, very disappointing. So he comes straight away into the pits. The team are on hand to have a look at that car, and I suspect that all they can probably do is replace the rear bodywork, but
that's a lot of bodywork as well.
It is, yeah. It's not the work of a moment, is it? I think they're probably going to just, with 7.5 minutes to go, just park it up, one would have thought.
It doesn't look as if there's a great deal of sort of frantic activity around the car, does it? As if the car is going to be turned around very quickly. I'm not sure all is well for the number 6 car either. Barry Liversidge down here in pit lane, and doesn't appear to be very happy at the moment. Stationary, just underneath race control. Wants to have a chat to the marshals. The marshals indicate that, no, I'm afraid you need to... oh, it's back out onto the track. I had a feeling he was... yeah, okay. I don't fully understand what that was all about, but he's not happy.
No, he's clearly not happy. He's back out there. Of course, now Barry Liversidge will have dropped down through the order. He will return to the circuit in something like 19th position, so he's dropped down towards the bottom of the top 20. 6.5 minutes just over of the race still to go. Jack Lang leading by an ever-decreasing margin in reality. It was down to just 3.6 seconds at the start of the lap, so that's largely because it had traffic to deal with on the last couple of laps, and even more to deal with on that lap, so it was a slower lap from Jack Lang. Best part of what, almost 3.5 seconds slower than his best of the race so far, and he's now, what, just 2.3 seconds up the road from Joe Stables, who lapped the best part of, what, 1.3 seconds quicker than the race leader. We've also got Steve Burgess there. He's had a clear lap that time through, a 45.8 second lap from Steve Burgess. That's 2 seconds quicker than the car in second.
So we've got 6 minutes remaining. It's Lang that leads. Car number 7, his advantage, 2.2 seconds. 39 laps are completed by the number 7 car of Jack Lang. In second place, the number 95 car and that car, Joe Stables from row 6 on the grid, some 2.7 seconds behind in car number 95. In third place, car number 2 from the outside of the second row of the grid, Steve Burgess. What a day Steve Burgess has had. A third place, a second place, and now he's down there in third place in car number 2, and completing the top 4, Tony Wells in car number 3. Caldwell and Murphy complete the top 6. All of those cars in the same class, and just outside the top 6, the number 16 car, class leader in 7th place, car number 16.
Yeah, in reality, what we get Class T, which is the team category. Well, that is going to be that car, isn't it, down in 7th place. Those that are concentrating on the team award, i.e. where the drivers share the car, whereas most of the others run in Class S in reality, which is the Radical SR3 class for the sprint championship, either, i.e. one driver does one race, one does the other, or in the case of the vast majority in the S class, they just do the whole weekend themselves. So we have what now?
Class S.
Class
S. Yeah. The selfish class.
Selfish.
You're not getting in my car.
Yeah, we've got nearly 42 laps chalked into the book now by Jack Lang, who has been massively impressive for me this weekend. So we've seen him race last year in the BRDC Formula 4 Championship. We saw him as one of the front runners in the BRSCC Jedi Championship. Well, just going to show that he can turn his hands to single-seaters, and he can certainly turn his hands to sports cars. He leads the race. Good lap from him that time through, wasn't it, Alan? He has now increased the leading advantage up to 4.6 seconds with 4 minutes to go.
It's Burgess in third place, Steve Burgess, who has the fastest lap of the race on half distance, really, to where we are now. Lap number 21, and they've completed 42 laps in total, so if exactly halfway. Steve Burgess, 45.692, and that last lap for Jack Lang was a 46.035. Not as quick as his quickest lap, but not far away. 45.935 is his quickest lap of the race, and continues to lead by an increasing margin. 5.6 seconds now, 4.6 seconds now, the distance between the two of them, and he goes across the line without anything particularly to worry about. Still, we have seen a driver today not win a race that he has led from the off on the last couple of corners. So let's not be too certain about this. But at the moment, it's looking very good for Jack Lang.
It's looking very good for him, isn't it? We've had a new fastest lap of the race.
We have, yeah.
It's down in 16th position, but that's Ollie Hancock with a 45.616. Ollie, a very, very quick driver. Another one of those drivers that really should have, and still has the opportunity to form a full career out of it. But again, you know, we keep talking about this very quick driver, but he just hasn't got the budget himself. But every time he gets behind the wheel of the car, it just shows the true natural talent that he's got.
Yeah, he's a class act, is Ollie, and not surprising that he would have popped in a fastest lap on lap number 41 of 45.616. 45.616 for Ollie Hancock, who always impresses whatever piece of machinery he gets in, and not surprising at all that he's been able to post a fastest lap. We've got the top 4 have all come through now and completed 44 laps. Just over 2 minutes of the race remain. Jack Lang it is that leads, 44 laps in the book, and he's lapping, pretty much lap after lap. He's doing about a 46 dead, isn't he? 46.083, so he's controlling this pace. And what have you found? You found something
another new fastest lap for Ollie Hancock, a 45.574, but the car in 5th place, which is Brian Caldwell, had just been handed a 5-second penalty for exceeding track limits. So he's still going to remain 5th on the road, but now needs to be careful as if he loses too much time, the car in 6th position on the road, that being number 57, Brian Murphy, might actually leapfrog ahead of him by the time that penalty's applied.
Yeah, you're right. Let's keep an eye on that gap, but that could be very, very costly indeed. We saw a 5-second penalty last weekend at the touring car meeting, being very costly for Mike Bushell, who, as a result of a 5-second penalty, didn't win a race that he crossed the line first by some tenths of seconds. So it can be very, very costly for that 5-second penalty. best thing to do is to do your level best to stay within the track limits after you've received the warning, I suppose. But yeah, it can be a costly penalty, that. Let's see what happens, as we've now got just over 1 minute, exactly 1 minute of the race remaining. Jack Lang, his advantage, well, he seems unstoppable, doesn't he? He started the day with a win, and with 46 laps in the book, his advantage now over the 95 car of Joe Stables is 6.090. So it all looks good for the last minute of the race.
It certainly does. It looks very good for Jack Lang, who was lying third in the championship standings coming into this weekend, having claimed a couple of fifth places at Snetterton and a third place at Snetterton. Well, a win for him earlier on over the course of the day. He is going to be very pleased if he can back it up with another win here in the third race, which carries 80 points for a race victory, double the amount that you get in the sprint races, and rightly so, because it's double the distance in reality, isn't it? Just a matter of seconds to go for Jack Lang, who is that Jack Lang that's just had the spin? That looks like an orange car that's just had the spin up at Clearways Corner, and is it Jack Lang? I'm querying it myself. In fact, no, it's not. No, he's just threading his way through Surtees now. So I thought it was Jack Lang, but thankfully it's not. It's one of the red cars that's had the issue. And
well, we've seen it once today when a car went up in smoke, having led the race, so we have to be sure.
It was Brian Caldwell that had the spin, 2 spins at the same place. So Jack Lang comes through and claims the victory. Thank goodness it wasn't him. It's difficult to see with the sun, isn't it, beaming down at that part of the circuit. It looked like a
You've
red
just given his family a bit of a scary moment.
Attack they didn't need, absolutely. But Jack Lang does come through. He does claim the victory, and well, it's a good haul of points, isn't it, for the youngster, with say that win earlier on over the course of the day. He finished second in the second, he finished 11th in the second race of the day, and has claimed a win in the all-important enduro race of the day. Joe Stables comes through and finishes in second place. That's a cracking result for Joe Stables. Yes, he didn't have any additional time to worry about in the pit stops. He just had the standard 45 seconds, but he came through from 11th on the grid up to the top 3 in the very early stage of the race and hung on to that position. Steve Burgess will be chuffed as well. He finishes in third place, car number 2, with Tony Wells, number 3, finishing in 4th place. 5th place goes away with number 57, Brian Murphy. 6th place is the number 16 car, which is Stuart Maloney and James Abbott. They were the first of the pairings home in Class T, which is for those drivers concentrating on the team championship. 7th place for number 80, Peter Tyler and Tom Gladys. 8th place in the end for Brian Caldwell, who had that spin on the last lap and also has that 5-second penalty, so he is the last of the cars to finish on the lead lap in the end in 8th position, car number 66. 9th place for Evgeny Klusharev and Bradley Smith, car number 4. They finish in 9th place, and 10th place goes the way of number 5, which is Paul Allen and Jason Redding. Elliot Goodman, number 28, is in 11th position. 12th place goes the way of Aaron and Lee Bailey, number 11. 13th place, number 23, Jason Rishover. James Manchester is 14th, car number 15. And in 15th place, number 20, Mark Crader. 16th place for number 8, Mark Hignett, but Ollie Hancock with the fastest lap of the race. 17th place goes the way of number 9, which is Gary Patterson. Barry Liversidge, who was in the pits for a period of time, in 18th place, car number 6. Simon Garmston was 19th, and completing the top 20 was number 78, which was John Glendenning and Lewis G. That gives you the top 20. Alan Hyde making his way down to conduct the podium presentation.
Amanda makes her way through onto the podium, where already we have some very splendid Radical SR1 Cup trophies in place. So let's get the drivers in reverse order onto the podium. The overall top 3 in 3rd place, Steve Burgess. Well done, Steve. Congratulations. Makes his way onto the podium and over to the far end, where Amanda offers congratulations. A 3rd place, a 2nd place and a 3rd place. A very good day for Steve Burgess. In 2nd place, many congratulations from row 6 to Joe Stables. Well done. Congratulations to him. And the youngster makes his way onto the 2nd step of the podium. He'll be very happy with that. Well done. Congratulations. Started the day with a win. Finishes the day with a win as well. Well done to Jack Lang. He takes the win. And he'll be delighted with that as he steps aboard the top step of the podium. F3 Cup soon to get underway. Thank you, Amanda, for making the presentation. Thank you, guys. That's it. Let's have you bunched up together on the top step of the podium. And that's it. There's room for you all. I know you're very tall, aren't you? There we go. Let me stand back and allow a photograph to take place. And there we go, all 3 of them posing for the cameras. in the sunshine here at Brands Hatch. Opportunity for me to have a chat to Jack. What a brilliant way to finish the day. We had a bit of a scare at the moment when we saw a car spin on the final lap, and we wondered if it was you, but it wasn't, so there was nothing wrong there. Was everything okay in the car? You felt that everything was just according to plan?
Yeah, we had a really good start. I managed to pull out a good lead. I had the problem again, we're struggling to change gears. I think there's compressors leaking, so that slowed me down a bit, but no, we had a good pit stop.
Didn't slow you down much, did it?
Yeah, we had a good pit stop. Steve had his handicap, also helped. To be honest, I just want to thank my dad, my mum, the whole team. Many congratulations to Joe as well. You know, his dad stepped back for this race to let him win, and I think you're going to have to be stepping back a little bit more.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. Now, just to take you back, one final question. The start, you mentioned the start, you threw away the fact that you got a good start. That must have been a bit of a psychological battle after race 2.
Yeah, race 2 we had a bad start, I stalled, and the safety car didn't help me gain too many more positions. No, I planned to go around the outside of him around paddock. That didn't work, so then I just sent one down the inside, and then I was able to build a lead from there, and I didn't need to push the car too hard. I just wanted to keep it on track and finish the race.
Jack, you've had a super day. Many congratulations. Let's have a chat to young Joe. Super. How old are you, Joe?
17.
17 years old, and that's a good way to finish the day, isn't it, eh?
Yeah, it is. It's a great way.
Not going to let Dad back in the car, are you?
No.
No chance. Are you happy in it? Comfortable in it?
Yeah, I'm getting used to it now. It's getting great, the car is, yeah.
Super little race cars, aren't they?
Yeah, they're great.
Yeah, super. Well done. Many congratulations. And Steve Burgess, third, second and third. You can't complain at that, can you?
Yeah, no, this morning I wasn't happy with the way the car was handling, so, you know, I put some good laps in towards the end, so, yeah, I'll take a third.
Happy with you, Dave. Very good. Well done, guys. Thank you very much indeed for having a chat to us.